Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free. I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free. I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free. I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship...
Live from Studio 6B on a Thursday night. Real America's Voice and across the airways of 103.9 LI News Radio. Glad you're in, everybody, on a busy Thursday. Lots to do. Rick Delgado's here. He's going to do the news. Slick's here. He's going to do some sports. Vinnie Mac is here. Vinnie Mac, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Had a great day. Beautiful day today, by the way.
It was beautiful in New York. The weather is finally getting to a point where I can wear flip-flops again, which, as you guys know, I do as soon as I can. Mr. Delgado, how are you?
Baffled. What do you mean?
Yeah, I know.
You wear flip-flops every freaking day of the year. What are you
I was waiting, bud. Well, we have a special guest with us tonight, so we'll get to your baffledness and along with the rest of the country, or maybe not all of it, but a lot of it on that a little coming up. And I want to thank Slick for giving up his seat because we have a special guest with us tonight. Of course, he's an author. He is a speaker. He is a best-selling author, and he is a TV host and a brand new podcast host as well. Please welcome Tom Hackman to the show. Tom, how are you?
Thanks, Damon. Doing great.
It's great to have you here. Now, Tom is a retirement income expert, and I've been lucky enough to be working with Tom over the last years on a bunch of different projects. And I wanted him to come on tonight because of everything that's going on with DOGE and government and Trump and the administration. And he's in New York filming for your show that I guess airs on CNBC. And what's the show about?
Financial freedom. And really what I do is I bring Main Street financial advisors in. You know, CNBC and Fox Business good with Wall Street, but I'm bringing in Main Street, real financial advisors to give advice and assistance to people who want to retire and want to build wealth.
Yeah. And you got a new podcast with the same name that's going to come out this year as well. So you got a lot of great things going on. So I wanted to have you on because there's a lot going on. And it's funny because I got to work with you through Biden administration, and now here we are in the Trump administration. And you used to say something to me during the Biden administration. You said taxes have nowhere to go in this country but up. And it's not a left-right problem. It's a math problem. Now that the Trump administration's in and you see what's going on right now as they're fighting for a reconciliation bill and to extend the Trump tax cuts, do you still have that same feeling?
Well, I do, because, you know, there's an ocean of debt. And even though DOGE is going in there and finding stuff, it's almost like they're taking a Home Depot 5-gallon bucket into the ocean and trying to bail it out. And the more I see how big the problem is. Now, I hope this gold card can raise trillions of dollars. I hope they can pay off the debt, but the debt is a major problem. 36 trillion. We're adding a trillion about every 85 days. And so, I mean, there's got to be a lot more cutting than what's being cut. So I do think at some point taxes are going to have to go up. I hope Trump can figure it out. I hope they can fix it all. But it's a big, it's an ocean of problems.
So if they pass the Trump tax cuts through reconciliation, of course, people on the left are going to say, well, you're blowing a hole in the budget to give your rich friends a tax break, and we're going to pay for it. But if they do pass them and they do extend them, taxes aren't going to go up anytime soon, are they?
Not soon, but I mean, it's just this massive problem that after time, I mean, unless they can bend the curve, if they can bend the curve and we can actually see the debt coming down, then I may say something different. But right now, we're still adding a trillion every 85 days, and until that changes, at some point, taxes are going to have to go up, or something's going to have to happen.
Yeah, and it just seems like they're not willing to get to where the real cutting would have to be, which unfortunately, and it's like the third rail of talking about this stuff, but it's entitlements, right?
Yeah, but they could fix it pretty easy. Social Security is an easy fix. Medicare, Medicaid, I don't know. I'm hoping somebody smarter than me can figure that out. But I could fix Social Security for the next 100 years in less than 15 minutes.
By doing what?
Well, they're going to have to. My dad got Social Security at 65. I don't get it till 67. My daughter probably shouldn't get full Social Security till she's 69. Her kids maybe not till they're 71. We're paying tax on 6.2%. Our employers match that. Maybe it needs to go to 7.5. We're paying now to 160 or 170,000. Maybe that has to go to 250. It's not going to be major changes, but of course, the left will be saying they're pushing Granny off the cliff, and they'll have pictures of them pushing Granny off the cliff. No, they're trying to save Social Security for the next 100 years. The Democrats can't fix it. The Republicans can't fix it. They're going to have to come together, and that's a problem. But if they came out together like Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan, they fixed it for 50 years, that's what's going to have to happen if they're going to fix it for another 50 or 100 years.
Yeah. So you see Elon, and you said a little bit about DOGE and kind of what they're up against. But what do you think so far of DOGE, what they're finding? I mean, is probably not a surprise that there's fraud, waste, and abuse in government. Obviously, this overly behemoth, iron-fisted, top-down government that we're living under. But what do you think of DOGE? What do you think of the prospects of what they're trying to do?
It's kind of disgusting, the things that they're finding. But
Yeah.
but even what he's found so far, look at the wailing and gnashing of teeth. You'd think that they're pulling teeth of everybody, and they're finding waste, fraud, and abuse, but people are screaming. And now, I mean, there are people who are losing their jobs. And I mean, I got a daughter at my time. I just said, to my wife, what if my daughter would have got hired at one of these jobs and then they just eliminated them just willy-nilly? There's a park ranger out in Iowa who's a newly hired guy, and he lost his job. He's got a family, so they're going to start personalizing some of this, but he's hardly cut anything, less than 1%, and they're screaming and wailing. How can we cut $36 trillion? I mean, how can we pay that off? It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, Vin?
Yeah, I have a few questions for you. So on the whole idea of, number one, dealing with the deficit and all that kind of stuff. I mean, what I see happening here is downsizing government, cleaning out waste, increasing revenue, all these things that he's doing, bringing in all sorts of money to increase revenue. I just remember in the dot-com boom when Bill Clinton was the beneficiary of all that money coming into the tax system. It seems to me that we might go through a process like that right now, where we cut enough to make a dent, not a big one, and then we have a process of more income where the tax revenue rises, and perhaps that takes the deficit down to something that becomes more manageable and then can come down. Do you see that as a possibility?
I hope that happens. And look, Trump's a businessman. He's bringing business in. Look at all the stuff he's bringing in.
Yeah.
And that could help too. And you sell these gold cards and you sell this other
The
stuff.
gold card thing's interesting. The other question I had for you was, I remember George Bush talked about this, and I saw an article recently that said if we put our retirement, our Social Security with the S&P 500, we'd be getting 30-some-odd thousand a month. And maybe there's a strategy around that, because the 401ks, for what they do, they're not really pensions, but they do create a savings for people. There are people that can save $1 million if you work for the same company a long time, or even $100,000.
You want to be partnered with the U.S. government, sure.
Yeah.
But they're invested in mutual funds and stocks and all that type of stuff. And I'm just wondering, how much of a difference would that make, where if Social Security was carved out of the government, in essence, and gave you the choice? You want the government to put it in government T-bills, or you want it to best conservative, then your benefits will be represented that, or you want to put it in like you do your 401k. That might solve it in a way, because it'll give everybody more money. Maybe you can retire earlier.
Yeah, I think it would have to be a choice, though, because, again, as soon as the market crashes, they say, see, there they go. They lose all your money, So, but I think if people had a choice, I certainly would choose to put it more market-based than where it is now. I think it would have to be a choice. But if it was a choice, I think that's fine.
But even on that market-based idea, you look at Social Security, and, we're the same age. We were talking about that before we got on. So I look at it. I'm not looking to tap into it, but I look at it, and I'm like, who can retire on these kind of numbers, right? You got to have all these other things. It makes no sense, right? In today's economy, it makes no sense. I have this place in Florida that I mentioned to you, and, they're getting assessments all over the place. People are on fixed incomes. I mean, it's a real crisis.
It is.
For that. It doesn't make sense to me that they can create a living wage like that when they're willing to give living wages to illegals and all these others for lots more.
Yeah, that was crazy. But, I think if people had a choice, you could either do the government system that you got now, or you could do a market-based system.
I think
a lot of people would take the market-based system. But if you force it, then it's going to be the narrative, there they go. They're trying to lose you your money.
I think you do it like a 401k. You have your options. Government 25% with the government, 25% with this. That kind of thing. It just makes too much sense.
Yeah. No, I would support that.
What's your biggest advice right now in these times with inflation the way it is, and people, maybe my age, 50s, early 50s and lower 40s?
Yeah, you're getting up there.
Thank you. What's the biggest mistake they're making in saving for retirement? What's the biggest mistake maybe you see of people in the 30s, 40s as they think about starting to save?
Well, I've spent my entire career working with baby boomers, showing them how to retire the optimal way. There is an optimal formula. It's about, having increasing income for the rest of your life and then managing all the risks in retirement. But for younger people, what they really want to do is they want to increase their saving and they want to put their money into appreciating assets. See, too many people put their money into cars and boats and RVs and jet skis and clothes and handbags and shoes, and all those things are depreciating assets. Worse, they're charging it on their credit card or they're taking car loans. And so they're paying interest on things that are going down every day. And you'll never get wealthy if you're paying interest on depreciating assets. And so it's focused on putting your money into appreciating assets. And if they would do that, and the other thing is young people get impatient. They don't become rich in their 30s and 40s, so then they say, screw it, I'm going to buy the RV, I'm going to buy the boat, I'm going to buy the car. And what I would do with people is I'd use the rule of 72. That's how fast money doubles. You divide whatever rate of return you get into the number 72. It tells you how many years to double your money. So I would use 7.2% because then your money doubles every 10 years, and it's a fair rate of return. So let's say I'm working with somebody in their 30s. They have $150,000, and they say, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not getting rich. And I say, no, wait. 150,000 in your 30s will be 300,000 in your 40s. Will be 600,000 in your 50s. 1.2 million in your 60s. 2.4 million in your 70s. 4.8 million in your 80s. 9.6 million in your 90s. That's just that money, and you're going to be saving other money. And so, if people would just give time. The young people have time on their side, and if they would just have a little more patience. But it's what you do in your 20s and 30s and 40s that will result in you becoming wealthy in your 60s, 70s, and 80s. And people just say, well, I don't want to wait till I'm 60 to be wealthy. Well, sorry, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, that's a hard dynamic,
Yeah,
when I was a young guy, I didn't believe it.
You're not going to get wealthy in your 30s and 40s.
Right.
It's just not, Elon Musk. But, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
401ks you still recommend for kids starting to save, or
up to the match?
Look at the Roth.
Roth 401k if you get a choice. But if you have a regular 401k and they match you put in 4%, they match 4%, that's 100%, I do it. But above the match, I wouldn't do it. I do Roth IRA, I do Roth 401k, I do cash value life insurance. I put it in places where you can get tax-free income in retirement. I think if you can schedule as much tax-free income in retirement, you're going to be happy.
Yeah. We're speaking with Tom Hackman. Of course, he's a best-selling author, speaker, retirement expert. And his show, Financial Freedom with Tom Hackman, is going to air on CNBC's 9 a.m. on Saturday mornings. It airs this Saturday as well, and it'll air all throughout 2025, so you can catch that. And of course, his latest book was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Are you going to do another book?
Probably not. I mean, not for a while. But that one's really good for young people. It shows them how simple it is to become a millionaire in America today.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You can find it, Tom Hackman. Tom, thanks so much. Glad you're in New York. It's good to see you, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Damon.
Tom Hackman here, live from Studio 6B, just getting started, 13 past the hour on a Thursday night. We'll jump into the news, sports. We'll do it all when we get back right after this. Chat.
Oh, that's yours.
What's going on in the chat?
Violin.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what came.
Kidding.
We all got one.
Check. Chat.
Didn't get one of those bases.
Slickster, thanks for giving up your seat there for Tom. Appreciate it.
My IFB does not work. I don't know what the deal is.
Of course.
I don't know.
The IFB, or is it the earpiece?
It might be the earpiece. I don't hear anything.
Bum, 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 bum. Cats B on YouTube. What's going on? Ticked Off Patriot. What's going on? Mandy Westcott on YouTube. What's going on? Julie Tate on YouTube. Hello, everybody.
Hello, Rumble. Hello, Getter. I am seeing you.
I don't get Getter, unfortunately, on my thing. I wish they would integrate it. Hello, chat. Hello. Wherever you're watching, X Rumble, Getter, YouTube, make sure you hit the like, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Hello, everybody. Good to see all of you as well.
Howdy, Rumblers. Howdy do.
I don't know. I'm plugging it in.
I got to see. Did they write a letter? Did they give you a note about these things?
No, they didn't. They just
Are you
said-
kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Wow. I mean, that took a lot to orchestrate.
It works.
Save it for the show.
Ba 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 bum ba 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 ba. Ba 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 bum ba bum ba bum ba bum.
He was
ba, bum.
great. I mean, that's just great
He is
information.
so good.
Just great information.
You ever want to know if you're doing the right thing, or you should ask him.
I could spend an hour with that guy right now.
Hold on. Let me go ask him.
Yeah. Get out there quick.
What am I doing from 8 to 10 every night? Oh, 8.
Ba-ba-da-da. 17 past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Thursday night, February 27th. Live, Real America's Voice, and of course across the airways of 103.9 LI News Radio. I want to thank Tom for coming in the studio tonight. He's here for taping his CNBC show, and I asked him if he wanted to come over, and he said, well, I'm usually in bed by then. And I said, well, come on, just since you're here. So I'm glad he came over. He is a smart cookie, man. He is a smart, yeah, exactly, smart cookie, though. He knows his stuff. Slickster's back in his seat. Slick, thanks for giving up your seat to Tom. How are you?
Absolutely, Big D. I was realizing I am a depreciating asset. Being one of the last years of the boomers, I buy all these suits, and every time I look at my checking account, I realize how my assets are depreciating.
Yes.
So I picked up on that from Tom.
There you go. So
Very good.
You learned something right away.
Absolutely.
You're a big depreciating closet. Exactly.
Exactly. And I love every minute of it.
All right. Well, let's we'll do some sports. Delgado's going to do some news. Vinnie Mac's got news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. But before we get to sports, I'll give Slick a second to settle in here. Let me just give Delgado the floor because I thought.
Oh my goodness!
Now I'm not going to say that I was right.
No.
But I did say towards the end of last night's show that there was a lot of ways that we could be let down. I don't know if I had necessarily this scenario.
No, you didn't. But that's
in
okay.
mind,
You can
but
gloat.
I got to the general point, did I not?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I was fearing that as well.
Every time I saw something on Twitter, Glenn Beck just losing it.
Oh my goodness! I got a clip of him. You want to see that?
Saying that this is such phony baloney nonsense. I would just retweet it and thought, oh my, who could have seen this coming?
Oh my goodness! I know the Epstein files, of course, is what Damon is alluding to.
I knew Delgado was thinking, God darn it, all day. I was deal with tropical depression.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, here's video of me waiting for the Epstein files, and then when they came out, cut number 5. This was me. This was me waiting for the Epstein files. Here I go. And then I find out. That's basically what I was going
What
through.
did you have? A few extra donuts before
I
you
was
did
going to say,
that?
God, you get stung by a colony of bees before you did that, or what?
I think you had a few extra donuts before we did it.
Yeah.
So yes, the Epstein files. But what can I say? Here, cut number 1. Here is I guess the influencers, I guess, coming out and showing off the Epstein files that they got, which turned out a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
I believe this is DC Drano holding up his.
Yeah, I don't want to say. Listen. I had my Delgado tinfoil hat on when I saw Glenn Beck's thing and then realized this was all a big scam. No, I don't want to call it a scam.
I wouldn't say a scam.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. But I just hope these people didn't got played specifically because that they thought, all right, let's give it to some. I don't know. My mind was going every place today. That normally that doesn't happen.
Right. And what's amazing is that they put them out there and let them walk out with this binder, and you think, oh my goodness, they all got a binder. This is going to be great. They're going to do a massive dump. They're going to go through it and share with us everything, and that didn't happen. What we did see.
Well, you think this is like a buy more time skit, and these people got played and used?
Well, did you see the letter from Pam Bondi?
I'm going to be honest. I didn't see a ton. My son had a playoff game tonight.
Okay.
Big win, by the way.
Awesome.
Going around 2.
But Pam Bondi released a letter after the big disappointment today. There it is, which reads, it's directed to Director Patel. It says, Dear Director Patel, before you came into office, I requested a full and complete file related to Jeffrey Epstein. In response to this request, I received approximately 200 pages of documents, which consisted primarily of flight logs, Epstein list of contacts, and list of victims' names and phone numbers. I repeatedly questioned whether this was the full set of documents responsive to my request, and was repeatedly reassured by the FBI we had received the full set of documents. Late yesterday, I learned from a source that the FBI field office in New York was in possession of thousands of pages of documents related to the investigation and indictment of Epstein. Despite my repeated requests, the FBI never disclosed the existence of these files. When I spoke to you yesterday, you were just as surprised as I was to learn this new information. Now, this is the next part of her letter. By 8 a.m. tomorrow, February 28th, that's 12 hours from now, the FBI will deliver the full and complete Epstein file to my office, including all records, documents, audio, video recordings, materials related to Jeffrey Epstein and his clients, blah, 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 regardless of how such information was obtained. There will be no withholdings or limitations to my or your access. The Department of Justice will ensure that any public disclosure of these files will be done in a manner to protect the privacy of victims in accordance with law, blah, blah, blah. I'm also directing you to conduct an immediate investigation as to why my order to the FBI was not followed. You will deliver to me a comprehensive report of your findings and proposed personnel action within 14 days. I appreciate your immediate attention. I know we are both committed to transparency for the American people, and I look forward to working with you to serve the president of our country. Signed, Attorney General Pam Bondi. So she's that's a pretty strongly worded letter.
Cash responded. Do you have that?
I don't have that.
He responded and said, hey, I'm on it. New York office withheld information.
Yeah.
And I'll have it for you.
Yeah. And in response to that, once that came out, Glenn Beck had this to say. This is cut number 3, and what he thinks could be something that's going on right now. Cut 3.
Liz reports that she was told that the feeling from Pam Bondi and others is that the Southern District of New York, the FBI in the Southern District of New York, actually has the tapes and everything else and will not turn it over to the White House or to Pam Bondi. If that is true, and I understand Liz correctly, and Liz is going to be on my radio program tomorrow and my podcast tomorrow to talk about her experience. If that indeed is true, then we have a civil war on our hands, an internal civil war.
Yeah, which is basically within the FBI. You've got the Southern District of New York outwardly disobeying direct orders from the President of the United States and their boss, the Attorney General, as well.
Here's the positive thing of this, okay? Let's glass half full. It happened early.
Yes.
In the administration with Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi, that letter meant business. They're not going to get away with this. Heads have to roll.
Yeah.
Have to. And this is the perfect opportunity for her to set that premise. You know, Glenn Beck, what he said is true. However, if she takes advantage of this opportunity and absolutely fillets people, maybe even arrests some, does whatever she needs to do, maybe we can offset all this problem, you know, of all this nonsense that's going to go on behind the scenes, you know, the withholding.
Right. And one of the, I guess one of the top players in that Southern District of New York goes by the last name of Comey.
Oh, really?
Daughter.
No relation?
The daughter of James Comey.
Oh, I cannot believe this.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's so incestuous.
Isn't this crazy?
It's crazy.
Insane. And you know what's even crazier? And again, we've known by everything that we've seen throughout the news throughout the last couple decades about this Epstein guy, what he was up to, what he was doing, and they also knew. And by they, I mean the senators and the Congress people and the people in government. And even Cindy McCain, John McCain's wife, knew, and she admitted it. Here's cut number 2. Listen to what she says. Cut 2.
Hides in plain sight. Epstein was hiding in plain sight. We all knew about him. We all knew what he was doing. But we had no one that was, legal aspect that would go after him. They were afraid of him. For whatever reason, they were afraid of him.
Yeah.
Videotapes? How does that sound?
They all knew what he was doing, but nobody said boo.
He has a lot on a lot of people. I mean, he's dead now, but there's a lot. So they were afraid. I mean, simple as that.
So is this a rug pull today, yes or no?
I think for me, it was more of a zipline flop. If you go to cut 5, you can see that again. This is me writing it out. That's what it is. I mean, until we see what they're hiding. Yeah, this was a rug pull.
Okay. 26 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. More to do on this and a lot more when we get back right after this. So since we're in the break, can we play this clip since I haven't seen it and I don't know if it's clean or not? I'm assuming it is with Liz Wheeler. But so now the word is that the people who took a book and agreed to some kind of a news embargo. Let's play this and see. Oh, wonderful.
It's definitely clean.
Yeah. Yeah, she's definitely not cursing. That's good.
Yeah.
While you're setting that up, Brent Wells says on social, send in big balls. He'll get it done. Maybe that's what we need. We need someone like that to go in and go into the Eastern District here, the FBI.
Well, according to some whistleblowers, they're scared that some of these guys are like trying to destroy evidence.
Yeah.
So
I think we're seeing that or hearing that with the CIA too, and with the and national intelligence as well.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it? It is crazy to me
this day and age,
they get away with this stuff. Well, they're not going to get away with it this time around. I think we have strong leaders in there. Pam Bondi did the right thing.
Oh. And there are whistleblowers, so they know who the people are that are doing it.
Yeah.
So they'll point them out.
But they have to. They have to take action. We simply can't tolerate it. And that's
Hodge
the move.
Twins quote tweeted my
Alan in the YouTube chat.
my photo from outside the White House and said, "This is embarrassing. Post what's in the binder." Well, we are. There was an embargo on it until a certain time.
Why would they put an embargo on something that was basically a rug pull? That's the question. So there was an embargo. Maybe it was an hour, 2 hours, whatever it was, but there was.
All I know is I kept seeing, I think it was it Jack Posobiec? Somebody had a binder open and they were doing it like live on their X, and they're just showing you page after page, wanting to get it out there, whatever it was.
Super chat. ANKH gifted 10 live from Studio 6B memberships. Big D.
Wow, awesome.
10
Thank
from
you so
ANKH.
much.
Yep.
10.
Love that.
Nice. 10's, that's a nice number.
10's got a nice
Liz
ring.
Wheeler, let me make this very clear. The binders were not given to us at the White House under any pretense that they contained damning Epstein information. AG Bondi was pissed because the deep state swamp creatures lied to her and gave her the files in the binder, pretending the contents, yes, a nothing burger, were the complete Epstein documents. Why weren't you pissed that the SDNY defied President Trump and AG Bondi and attempted to subvert your votes? Why aren't you outraged the FBI swamp traders tried to hide evidence of what we know are heinous crimes and the powerful people implicated in those crimes? Why aren't you screaming for the SDNY to give those files to Bondi for Bondi to release them and for cash to absolutely level the SDNY. So I guess. All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B. We'll get to sports here in a second, but just so I was just reading this. I saw Liz Wheeler put this tweet out. She's one of the binder brigade who got one of these binders today. And I guess the binder brigade is getting heat from everybody, like hate towards them. Like, I don't know what they're supposed to have done. What did they know? She's like, why? She's basically saying, why is everybody mad at us? We went there there was no pretense that we were going to get anything that was so damning. And quite frankly, the AG was pissed when she found out that basically she was lied to, and this was a big nothing burger rug pull of these binders. But she's saying, why aren't you mad at SDNY and everybody else? Why are we taking why is the binder brigade taking all this heat tonight?
Right.
Which,
I think they're taking the heat because they can't get to Bondi, I guess. Because I think a lot of people were why are you giving it to, social media influencers? Why aren't you just publishing what you have on the website for the government and let us all read it? Right. As opposed to doling it out to these people. And now we know that there's really nothing in there. Why giving it out to these people and let them determine what they're going to publish?
Yeah, they were the face. They came out and stood on the steps and held the binders. So, yeah, they were going to bust their chops because we think they were the ones that were helping to push this stuff out. And what you said is 100% right. She should have just put it up on the site and left it at that. We don't need influencers to do it. And you know what? Kash Patel didn't do his homework here either. I mean, he really should have been. Laura had knowledge of this.
I mean, Laura Loomer tonight's Pam Bondi's never going to recover from this.
That's ridiculous.
That seems somewhat ridiculous to me. I mean, really?
That's the idea, though. Why do they do this? They want to make these people look really bad. They want to undermine them till people lose faith in what they can do, so that a moron like this comes out with a comment like that.
Right.
That's going to be. We got to get used to that because they are going to try that.
And she's on our side. Well, she's supposedly on our side too, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I don't care what side she's on. That's a stupid comment, but we're going to be faced with that over months. But that's why I say they have to do something strong.
And they have to, and they got to hold the line on that 8 a.m. Deadline tomorrow morning. If that stuff is not, and this is me, if I'm Pam Bondi, if that stuff is not here in my office tomorrow with a big freaking bow on it, I am sending troops in to get you people, arrest you all, and then we'll start pulling things apart ourselves and see what you're hiding.
But wasn't there a report? And again, I don't know if the report was real. Wasn't there a report earlier this week or early last week that somebody thought before Kash got to the FBI, there was some report that they may have been destroying documents? Like,
yes.
How does anybody possibly think you're going to go into the SDNY after all these years and find anything real at this point? Even her.
I'm of the mind, and you hear a lot of computer people say this. You can try all you want. If there's even just a piece of a drive left, I think they can recover a lot of stuff.
I mean, people in the chat are saying this is bad for Pam. Bondi lied. Pam this, Pam that. I'm kind of surprised, actually. I mean that people are treating this as like, well, I don't know this is her second week.
Well, she's a victim of the deep state. That's as simple as that. The question is, what is she going to do about it? That's where I land on this.
She could have, and I think I know where they're going with this. Why didn't she just say, look, yesterday I'm releasing stuff tomorrow. It's not what we said it was going to be because of these, and that would have been, hey, just be honest. Say, look, here's what they gave us. It's garbage. We know it's garbage. We're trying to get the real stuff. They've been playing games. Like I said, if it's not on my desk by tomorrow, I guess that's send in the.
And that's why I asked you, like these influences that, that's the other question too. Like why go through this whole charade of making them come out and hold them up and making this big deal of it if you know what you just gave them is basically a nothing burger?
She didn't know. That's what she said. She did not know it was a nothing burger. She found out after the fact. That letter.
She did not look at them and then give them out like pretzels.
Right.
Of course, she had to know what was in there.
Right. No, she knew it was in there. I don't think she knew that the Eastern District had thousands of pages of more stuff. She was told in the letter she sent, it was pretty explicit. I was told, this is it. This is everything. That's what I was told. And I find out that's not true. So she released it thinking it's everything, and she finds out it's not true. She sent that letter, and that's where we are.
But a quick call to Kash Patel, because he had seen this stuff.
Okay.
Would have said, no, there's way more. I've seen it. Because he did say he has seen it.
I hear you on that. And Kash dropped the ball here, too.
Loomer's on a rant tonight. There are no Epstein files. The binders are props. Every single one of those paid influencers lied to you. They engaged in deception to run cover for pedophiles. They posted selfies with prop binders, liars, and deceivers. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay. What's
All right, let's do some sports. 35 past the hour. We'll get moving into some other things, but we'll keep an eye on anything else or anything else breaks on this tonight. Sounds like it's probably not going to, but let's do some sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell, MyPillow. LFS6B is a promo code to use. Slickster, what's going on?
All right, Big D. NCAA men's basketball light schedule tonight. Division I. We got North Texas right now leading FAU 61-46, 7:42 to go there in the second half. Rutgers taking on Michigan. That's a 9 p.m. tip in St. Mary's at LMU. 11 p.m. tip. To the ice we go. And I can tell you we're not on 103.9 tonight because the Islanders are up in the Boston Garden there taking on, at the TD Garden nowadays, taking on the Bruins, and they lead 2-0. 1:48 to go in the second period. Talk about fake news, huh? There we go. Sharks and Canadians tied at 2 with 3.5 to go there in the second period. Also, Blue Jackets over the Wood Rings 3-1, 5 to go there. We got the Lightning 1-0 over the Flames, 2 to go there in the second. Oilers and Panthers tied at 1 midway through the second. Blues and Caps. Blues leading that one 3-2, 2:26 to go there in the second period. Hurricanes over the Sabres 3-1, 5 to go there. 17 to go in the second. Flyers blanking the Penguins 2-0. Jets and Predators tied at 1, just a little way past midway first there. Wild and Utah Hockey Club, that's a 9 p.m. puck drop. Blackhawks at the Golden Knights out in Vegas, 10 p.m. puck drop, as well as the Canucks and the Ducks in Anaheim getting it on at 10 p.m. as well. NBA right now, light schedule as well. Magic over the Warriors 73-72 to 6 to go there in the third, and the Nuggets lead the Bucks 32-30, 11 to go there in the second quarter. And we go. Spurs coach Greg Popovich out for rest of season following stroke. Warner Todd Houston and Breitbart. San Antonio Spurs coach Greg Popovich is out for the season after suffering a stroke in November, a report says. The coach released a statement on Thursday praising interim head coach Mitch Johnson for the wonderful job he has done during the season. I've decided not to return to the sidelines this season, he said in the statement. I will continue to focus on my health with the hope that I can return to coaching in the future, Popovich added, according to TMZ. The last game Popovich was at full strength was for October's Halloween game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. At 76, the opinionated, and we do know that, coach is currently the oldest in the NBA. So Popovich has won 5 championships. That's why this is worthy news, and has been coach of the year 3 times. And, well, Kash Patel, he's keeping busy. Did you hear the story about Kash? Well, he is looking for FBI Director. Kash wants UFC to partnership and train agents. How do you like that one? This is Dylan Gwynn at Breitbart. Newly confirmed FBI Director Kash Patel wants to cultivate a relationship with the UFC, suggesting that the world's premier MMA league could help the Bureau's agents improve their fitness, according to sources familiar with Patel's teleconference call with FBI field officers this week. According to 4 sources who claim to be familiar with the call, Patel mentioned the idea on Wednesday in a video teleconference with the 55 field supervisors. During the call, Patel mentioned that incoming Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino is a big UFC fan and convinced him to try training the new director, very much like the training he received, and according to the sources, believes it could also be valuable for FBI agents. Some of the sources seem less convinced that the Bureau's agents need help from Dana White. There is a training the FBI receives in physical altercations, a former Justice Department official said, speaking anonymously, of course. If Kash Patel believed that should be beefed up, the answer is not to go Donald Trump's best friend who runs the UFC. It's clearly motivated by the glitz and glamour show and Trump's friend. It's unclear whether Patel envisions the partnership to increase the fighting skills of FBI agents, merely enhance their physical fitness, or both. I'm thinking both. In either event, it's unclear how training offered by the most competitive and well-rounded fighters could be construed as negative. While Dana White's cozy relationship with Donald Trump will draw some scrutiny, as it did from the source familiar with the call, the UFC is valued at over $12.3 billion. In other words, it doesn't need an FBI contract to survive, like everybody else that's involved with Trump these days, right? The sources claim Patel informed them that a dialogue with the UFC had already begun. So UFC could be training FBI agents. Rick, what do you think about that one? I know you're a big fitness guy.
Yeah.
I love it, right?
That'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be fantastic.
A lot of criminals tapping out.
Yeah, exactly.
No question about it. And Big D, I'm going to throw it back to you.
All right, Slick, very good. Sports brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6B is the promo code to use. 39 past the hour. Let's do some news. if there is other news that Delgado can focus on here tonight.
Oh my goodness! I don't think I
Oh
can.
man, I thought about Delgado all day today. And
That's like the first time.
Yeah.
When you're not actually mad at me.
Yeah. All right, let's do the news, and Delgado's got it. What's going on?
Well, this is a sad one. This is picture number 3 of the late, now great Gene Hackman, who was found dead in his home in New Mexico. Oh, my story just disappeared. I hate NBC News. They provide terrible links.
This is the story on this is kind of moved throughout the day.
Yeah.
It's very, very strange. Oscar winner, of course, Gene Hackman, his wife Betsy Arakawa, and their dog were found dead. Turns out they've been dead for some time, according to this story, in Santa Fe, Mexico, where the Oscar winner's wife and one of their dogs were apparently dead for some time before a maintenance worker discovered their bodies at the couple's Santa Fe home. Hackman was 95, was found dead Wednesday in an entryway, and his 65-year-old wife, Betsy, was found in a bathroom next to the space heater. According to Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office detectives, wrote in their affidavit, there's an open prescription of bottles and pills scattered across the countertop near Arakawa. Denise Avila, the sheriff's spokesperson, said there's no indication that they had been shot or had any wounds. The New Mexico Gas Company
carbon monoxide leak or something, or
here the New Mexico gas lines.
No,
the New Mexico Gas Company tested the gas lines in and around the home and discovered at the time they found no signs of problems, and the fire department found no signs of carbon monoxide leak or poisoning, according to the detectives.
And I heard they found 2 dogs alive as well. So
yeah, they had several dogs. One was found dead. It's just a weird, strange story that broke early this morning, according to many.
How'd the dog die?
The dog, they don't know yet. It's just a weird, weird story. He was loved and admired by millions around the world for his brilliant acting, but to us, he was just dad and grandpa. His daughters and granddaughter said in a statement on Thursday, he will be sorely missed, and we are devastated by the loss.
He was a great actor. You know, one of the first movies I think I saw when I was young was The Poseidon Adventure.
Yes.
You know, he played the Reverend. I've got a list of some of his great movies. French Connection won an Oscar.
Yeah.
Bonnie and Clyde.
I didn't see that. I didn't see
Bonnie
that.
and Clyde.
Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor.
The Poseidon Adventure. Hoosiers.
Didn't see that.
One of the greatest sports
You never
movies.
saw Hoosiers?
Oh, Hoosiers.
Hoosiers was
Poseidon
fantastic.
Adventure.
Oh, okay.
Hoosiers I saw, yep.
Hoosiers, one of the greatest sports movies, exception of Miracle on Ice, which is probably the best sports movie ever made. But Hoosiers, great. No Way Out, The Firm,
was all right.
Superman, Royal Tenenbaums. And what was the movie with La Caja Fall, or the one in Birdcage? The Birdcage.
Oh, that movie was
it.
great.
He only played the senator, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And he was
Robin
just a
Williams.
great actor.
And you know what was an actual one of, I guess, everybody's favorite cameos for him was Young Frankenstein. He played the blind guy.
That's right.
Wait
right?
a second.
And he sets Young Frankenstein's finger on fire. He runs out. He goes, "Where are you going?" I was gonna make. What was the freaking line? It was coffee. He was gonna make.
Don't leave
I was
us
gonna
hanging.
make cappuccino.
I didn't know that. That's great information.
I did not know that.
I did not know that. Everybody at the same time.
It's one of those little scenes, but it was quite memorable.
That is weird, wacky stuff there, Rick.
So sad. An American icon passed away.
Totally.
In a very strange, odd situation.
Yeah.
Gene Hackman.
All right, live from Studio 6B. We're back. Wrap up hour 1. Man, quick after this. If
the JFK thing comes out like that, I have to say, that's when I'm going to lose
it. In a way, it was like a heroical thing.
It just might.
If it comes out overly redacted and just nonsense, I tell you,
Don't
I'm
be
going to lose
surprised.
it.
I'm with you. Me too, but
it's disgraceful, this Epstein. It is disgraceful. I'm just trying to give her a little time here. You know, I don't want to throw her under the bus just yet. So, what's that?
Chat.
I like her. Yes.
I'm guessing carbon monoxide, but wouldn't the dogs be? Yeah.
I just want to see
so
her
fast tonight. I can't even keep up.
I want to see them be successful. Like, I don't want to see her be embarrassed like this. So, yeah, maybe I'm being a little biased in what I'm saying about Pam, but I want to see her being successful. I do not want to see them fail.
I just want to see the administration be successful.
Of course, absolutely. But each of the people that have been picked, and we got them through the votes, and the votes were all close. I just want to see them all successful. I want to see Cash pull a rabbit out of his hat now at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. I want to see that. I want to see Pam Bondi, earn some stripes back.
Yeah, and if they don't get what they're supposed to get, I'm all for. They seem to be really into doing these pre-dawn raids. I wonder how they like it.
Connie Lou on X, what's going on?
That's a great idea.
Pre-dawn raids.
Connie Lou.
I mean, everyone has to realize, too, that even if they get everything at 8 a.m., we're not going to know what's in that for a while.
Connie Lou.
Well, I don't have to realize that.
Long day, Damon.
I'm going to realize my own.
6,
My own.
Yeah, it's a long day.
Racing Banshee, what's going on? Connie Lou.
Long day.
You're right.
Long day.
Look, I know we were all up early, but
Wolfman.
Early. Tomorrow's early, too.
What's
so tomorrow's show's going to be worse.
Early for him, 8 a.m.
Yeah, what's early?
You got up at 6. That's
Tomorrow night show, I might stand on top of the desk and do the show.
Because I get up at 4.
Well, it's Friday night. You might not come in.
Yeah, exactly.
That would really be the best.
Pizza.
If I could do that. Can you do it without me tomorrow night?
Yeah, sure.
All right, perfect.
That guy was gonna prep. You miss out on the pizza, Big D. You got to come back. Pizza Friday. Come on.
That's the big incentive. Pizza.
I don't think Damon's feeling the pizza.
I'm going to have a problem next Tuesday. That's round 2.
Who are they playing?
Hills East. Wow. 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice. And Slick says we're not across the airways of 103.9 because the Islanders are playing tonight.
Yep.
So just Real America's Voice, and across all of our socials. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe on whatever social you're watching on. We do appreciate it. Head over to livefromstudio6b.com. And make sure you sign up as a member there. Join the loyalty program. A lot of you did. I gave points last night to everybody who was signed up because I can do that. And I might do it again tonight, especially when the chat's very active. I'm trying to figure out a way to get points for the chats as well. So if you're active in chat, like once you type something once every certain amount of seconds, I'm trying to work something out where you get points for that too. But I don't know. We're a little ways away from that. But we're going to try to make it so you can earn lots of points and use it for cool stuff. So what are we doing? We're doing the news. Yeah. Let's go to Vinny Matt. What? What's the problem? It's been a long day. I'm kind of all over the place. But I'm having fun. It's a
Who am I and why am I here?
It's a nice show tonight.
You're like, oh, I've been up early. What's early for you?
Oh, well,
I was up at 6.
If you go to bed at 10:30 and you nap 3 hours a day with your milk in
I went to bed at 1:30 and got up at 6.
Right.
And I've been here or in a basketball game ever since.
I get up at...
and tomorrow will be the same thing.
You didn't take your nap?
I go to bed at 12:30.
No, I've never taken. What?
I go to bed at 12:30. I wake up at 4.
Wow.
I could never do that.
And you nap for what?
You take a 4-hour nap.
No, I take a 1 hour nap.
Get out of here.
Well, that's 1 hour more than me. Vinny Mac's got some news. What's on your mind, Vinny Mac?
I need 8 to 9 hours of sleep. I just want to let you know that. Speaking of this FBI stuff, by the way, I heard about the shooter, the 20-year-old kid arrested in Butler. That their FBI's withholding information there too.
Big article in the New York Post about that. Yep.
Yeah. The Post covered it, and they're saying they're not. I don't understand this. I just don't understand the FBI and the lies. But what's on my mind right now? I read today that Israel and Hamas are starting to begin negotiations again for another ceasefire and to release hostages. And I'm going to go out on a limb here because I just do not like the entire situation. I don't like the idea of releasing 4 hostages in exchange for 120 terrorists that are getting back into the army of Hamas, who are eventually going to fight Israel again, because at some point this thing's going to boil up. As I thought about this, trying to be compassionate for the hostages and trying to envision if one of my loved ones was a hostage, I'd want them released based on anything. But the reality is these are really evil people. Look at what they did to those 2 little kids. They've paraded their caskets around. They literally celebrated the killing of these kids. Not just Hamas, the people of Gaza, the Palestinians. They celebrated this. So what do you do? And in my view, I think we've got to dial it up a lot more. I think we have to go full on with Iran and threaten them. That if the hostages are just not released, 100% of them, by this certain date, we're holding you responsible.
Didn't we do that, though?
We did not. We said that we have to release some hostages. Trump did that. Then Israel intervened, and they cut some deal, and Trump backed off because he wanted to get them talking. He did the right thing. He started the fire. But at this point, I think his initial instinct was, all hell's going to break loose if you don't release them all. He pulled back. I think he was right. I think we have to take a position like that, but we have to take that position with Iran. They're the ones behind Hamas. What's going to happen is they've released hundreds of terrorists, of Hamas terrorists. Those terrorists are simply going back into the field. That's all they know. All these people know is kill Jews. That's it. There's no other rhyme or reason for their lives. They exist to hate them. And when you have that level of hate, I just, releasing 2 or 3 and then releasing 100 and all this is going to go on for 2 years at the rate they're going. So I just was thinking about it today, and I'm getting upset about it because I don't think we're doing enough. I think we have to come in with the sledgehammer now. And the United States needs to perhaps lead that and say, look, Israel, you're responsible. Hamas, we're going to now, work with Israel. If you don't release all the hostages, we're just going to come in and annihilate the whole place. I mean, I don't know what else to do. And we might lose hostages. And that's the risk, and nobody wants to take that risk. But I feel like we're going to lose them anyhow.
Of course, the most important thing you said and of course, this is where the media tries to play the American people for, is that somehow that there's this distinction between Hamas and then other people who live there. And maybe there are some, but the majority of people who live there, who occupy there, are either Hamas or are 100% supportive of what they do, knowingly what they do, they know where they are, they know where the hideouts are, they know what buildings they use as cover, they know what they run as cover, they know there's no such thing as humanitarian aid when it comes in, they know what happens with that. They are all supportive and on board.
I completely agree with that, and that's part of what just gets me so upset, because I know that all of that's going on, and I also know it's all just based on decades of hatred in grammar school, in high school, and in every way of life. They are trained and educated and brainwashed to hate the Jews. Hamas has gotten away with not just murder. This wasn't just a raid and taken hostages and shot a bunch of people. This is not what that was. These were some of the most horrific assassinations of people, things that even the Holocaust looks good compared to what they did to some of these people. It was at every bit on that level, if not worse. So I just feel like if you're dealing with evil, and to the point that you make, Damon, which is a holistic point, which is the people are as culpable as Hamas. I mean, the citizens of this, I don't even know, it's not a country. I don't even know what Gaza is. I don't even know what to call it. But the people are as culpable. And if you have that kind of dynamic, where are we going with this? We just have to draw a line in the sand and destroy them. And if their financier is Iran, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time we take that risk and just let Iran have it. Maybe it's time to take out the nuclear facilities. Maybe it's time to do a lot of stuff there. But something stronger has to happen here. I mean, do you feel like I do? Are you as outraged about it? Or you think like, hey, you know what? And I can understand the compassion. I want hostages released too.
I'm with you. As a matter of fact, President Trump was asked this today. in his in the Oval when he was there with the Prime Minister Starmer, whoever it was. Somebody said something to him, in essence, basically saying, "Hey, you said all hell's going to break loose. They've pretty much given you the big middle finger. What's going on?" He was asked this today.
What did he say?
Well, he says that basically he throws it into Israel's lap.
I get the fact that he's now released the gloves that Israel had on them, right? They had serious gloves with the Biden administration. He's released them. However, this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Mr. President, if you're watching, I think you got to do more on this one.
Yeah.
Well, I go back to something he said, a few months back. He doesn't think there's any hostages left alive.
That's a whole nother thing.
When was the last time we saw a live hostage released? We haven't. We've only seen bodies released recently, right?
Well, we saw the first 4, I guess, right? When they first cut the deal. And
last week.
Do you remember we had this discussion when they cut the deal? How the deal was terrible.
Yeah.
I said it. This is not a Trump deal.
No.
It's not a Trump deal. This is a Biden crap deal. It's a crap sandwich that they had to swallow, or at least to some degree, because they weren't in full control of it at the time. But now they are in full control.
Evil only responds to one thing: destruction. You have to use the most vile means to take out evil people. We have seen it throughout history, and so hopefully learned our lesson with the Holocaust.
All right, that's a wrap. Hour 1, sports news coming up. Here's my 2 big questions going into hour 2. Who prepared the binders? And who approved the binders? We want names.
Let's get back to the binders here. Okay?
Are they binders full of women?
I don't know.
A la Mitt Romney.
Chat.
Kind of coffee.
Luann. Huh? What the hell kind of question is that? Come on, Slick. Great show tonight, guys. Luann Ledford on Facebook. Thank you.
Thank you.
Damon is throwing fuel on the fire. What does that mean?
A lot of positive comments on my little rant there. I think a lot of people agree. Enough's enough.
Parking lots in Gaza coming soon. Kiki on Facebook says. Well, that's basically what you're calling for, right?
Yeah.
I don't.
Of course, you have a wing of the Democratic Party that would tell you, that's all support. That's just like the people who live there.
I feel bad for some of these innocent victims, these people that live there. But at the end of the day, to everything that you just said, your points really just discredit all of that, because they know where the hostages are. They know that the money being sent to help them is not getting to them. They know all this stuff. They've done nothing.
Sofa King Nuts 22. Why is Ron DeSantis hating on Byron Donalds? I don't think he's hating on him. I just think he's questioning what has he done to what qualifies him to be the governor. What's wrong? I mean, that's a pretty solid question, quite frankly. Just because he's a nice guy and he's been supportive of Trump, that's fine. But I think he's saying well, first of all, his wife's going to probably run. Although
Right.
I don't know.
So what qualifications?
So obviously he's a little biased towards his wife.
Right. What qualifications does the wife of somebody? Is that always the?
But that's what I think he's not. I don't think he's hating on him. As a matter of fact, I heard him say something very nice about him the other day. He just said, I think when you're going to be the executive of the state, you got to look at what victories in Florida has he been a part of. And then, you start to look deeper in some of the things he supported in the past. George Floyd, Black Lives Matter, other things back in the mid-teens.
Oh, yeah.
The missed votes. He's the number one missed vote, voter in Congress. The number one. He's missed the most votes of anybody in Congress. So I think he's just asking questions. I think they're valid questions, by the way. He's not the only one. By the way, people asked the same thing about him when he went to try to be a congressman, to be a governor. And by the way, he probably would have lost if it wasn't for Trump at the time, who endorsed him.
That's right.
So there was valid questions about what qualified him. Dave Syverson on X. Send me your binder of reads.
Wow.
9 o'clock on the East Coast, live from Studio 6B, Hour 2. Glad you're in. Slick's going to do some more sports. Vinnie Mac's here. He's got some news and some thoughts on some things. Delgado's doing the news. So a lot of questions about, do you have a what even is that for tomorrow that I'm not going to screw up if I'm not here?
Nope.
No, I'm going to be here. I'm going to not be here Tuesday, though.
Okay.
Well, at least I'm going to be late next Tuesday because that's game number 2, round 2 of the playoffs.
They run the picket fence.
Right. As we make our run for the county championship.
Yeah.
I won't be here, though.
You are not be here Tuesday.
No, I won't be here Wednesday.
Slick won't be here Wednesday, and Delgado won't be here Friday.
What's going on here?
And Vin won't be here at all.
Yeah. What the hell is going on here?
Paul Nolan, 5 nights.
You people think I'm the tropical depression. This is what I deal with.
Yeah. Oh,
what
come
you
on.
deal with?
I think I missed one show in the last month and a half.
I know, really. At least I give you a heads up.
I have to get a manicure.
We show up as like, oh, where's Damon? I don't know.
He's at a basketball game.
He says he'll be late.
Yeah, I'll be late.
He bounced on us.
Yeah. He's late on a Friday, and the next time we see him is Monday.
Whoops, double dribble.
Come on, Big D.
Come on, Slickster. So, next week's going to be totally dysfunctional, but that's fine. Paul Nolan is going to host the show on Tuesday.
Hello.
So it'll be a normal week, is what you're saying.
Yeah. There you go.
Kevin Downey Jr. will be here Tuesday. Vin will maybe sit in remotely.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be in Florida.
I'll be at an undisclosed location. Wherever that is.
Wherever that is.
The key of life.
Exactly.
I'll be in an undisclosed location, a secret hideaway.
Yes, exactly. So no, what even is that tomorrow?
No, not tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm shooting for Monday.
Shooting for Monday?
Yes.
Okay, shooting for Monday. Damon, bring in Farmer Brooke and David Syverson. Oh, that. Whoa.
Hello.
Hello.
Come on, fly him in, Big D.
If you're on socials, make sure you hit the like and subscribe, whatever platform you're watching on. The finest audience in television, that would be the one on this show.
That's right.
I want to thank everybody for watching on whatever platform you're on, and the numbers continue to grow, and the streaming numbers have been great this week. Head over to livefromstudio6b.com as well, by the way. Sign up to be a member there, absolutely free. Take part in our new loyalty program. You can earn points for free merch and maybe free tickets if we do some live events. How about, I really enjoyed our election night coverage over at the America's First Warehouse.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was great, right?
Yeah.
It's a great
I
space.
Do another live audience.
And I want to do a lot. Thank you, Vin.
Did I just say that?
Thank you, Vin.
Vin, don't worry about it. It's not going to happen.
It's not gonna. I'm sure it's gonna happen.
He doesn't like to leave his house.
Damon?
He wants to leave his studio. Come on, stop.
Yeah, come on. Is this true, Damon? You got a coffee now. You should be very sharp.
Look how many times we've been on the road with this show.
Exactly. I mean, the last time we went out was we did that show in. Remember, we were doing the Rav Open. Oh, that's right. That never happened.
Yes. And then we were going to Tennessee. But but they wouldn't allow us in the theaters because we were right wingers.
I think we should do a live show. I know Damon wants to do it, and then we need our audience there. And maybe some of our audience from out of town will fly in and join us.
Oh, election night we were out on the road, though. We did go out on the road on election night. He took us out.
Damon, do you want to share?
I took them out. I bought steak dinners.
Slick's still,
steak sandwiches.
I know, he's still paying that off.
Slick's still paying off the steak dinners from election.
I wrote it off. Hey, at least it shows I got steak in the show, right?
Man, they were good, though.
It was great.
They were good. Come on, Slickster. Break out the old gold card.
That was good. Best steak sandwiches I had.
Yeah,
then we were going to go to Flobama. No, that didn't work out.
It's not called Flobama.
What's it called? Alabama. Whatever.
Flobama, Florida and Alabama.
Yes.
Right.
Flobama. Who's your favorite president?
That was good. Well done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the problem.
Here it comes.
You want to know the real problem is? The
Yes.
problem is that I talk about these things.
Yeah.
Shut up, all of you. I talk about these things because I
And they never
like
happen,
to
yes.
get input from everybody, including the audience.
Yeah.
And
I probably should just shut up.
And you get lots of great input. Because people get excited. Some people like, oh, you know what? I have time coming off. If you're doing it that week, I'll do my. They'll take some time off. They'll do the drive. That's fine. Okay, so I've learned my lesson. New rule going into effect right here on a Thursday night, February 27th. New rule.
Yep.
I will no longer speak of any events outside of our regular show here, 8 to 10 in studio, until there is been a deposit made and the reservations are in, and it's an absolute go. I will not say anything to the audience or to you guys until it's a go.
All right.
come on.
We're never going to go anywhere.
I like talking about it.
So you'll just tell us to report to some state somewhere at some point in time?
Yeah, well, because look what this gets me. This gets me made fun of for months after nothing works out.
You have the right intentions. That's what we're going with this. You have the right intentions and the right vision.
Oh, stop kissing his butt.
This entire
Thank you.
show.
He's not going to
the right
bring
vision.
you either.
Thank you very much.
Oh, man. Can you pass the feta cheese, please? Thank you. Yeah.
5 minutes past the hour. Let's do some more news. I don't feel like we've done enough here.
Yeah, what's going on with Epstein?
Rick Delgado. Who put the binders together and who approved the binders? Those are the two questions we need answered.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Are they the same person? Would be my first question. Do you think?
I don't know.
No, of course not. Why do I ask you the question if I already have the answer, I wonder? My wife does that to me.
Well, that's because she always has the answer.
Rhetorical question.
Yes.
Uh-oh. I'm not touching this one.
Let's see here. Ken B 412. I don't like Damon. He slow walks information and promotes goofing off too much with our him. Delgado, Paul, Vinny, Slick gives it to you straight. The show is great without Damon.
My God.
Wait a minute.
Ken B 412 on Rumble.
That's not right. Damon is our fearless leader. What are you talking about?
Oh, my God. I think that's Rick's handle on social, I believe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Delgado's alias, Ken B 412 on Rumble. The show is great without Damon.
Oh, wow. Let me tell you, there'd be no show.
Many people concur
Damon.
with that thought.
All right.
Well, we got a nice super chat too, Big D. $49.99 from G-Dog. Nice chat there. How is USAID manager Samantha Power not being charged for conspiracy to commit treason and racketeering along with all of her other co-conspirators? Bondi can teach Fannie how it's supposed to be done when there are actual crimes. Mm-hmm. Nice one there, G-Dog.
Hello.
Thank you for that one.
Okay, very good.
It's good.
All right, 7 past the hour. I said we were going to do some more news. Let's do it. Delgado's got it. What's going on?
All right. Well, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick is in the news after he, of course, the cabinet meeting with President Trump yesterday. I guess afterwards, President Trump challenged him to come up with a new way to save some money. And he of course, the next day, which was today, he was asked, okay, what do you got for me? Here is Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick talking about a new idea that he came up with for the Postal Service in hopes of saving the Postal Service and saving billions of dollars. Cut 7, check this out.
So the concept was I'm sitting with the president and the costs of the post office are like it loses $7 billion. And he said, can you do something with it? And I said, sure. So I saw him the next day, he goes, okay, what do you got? He gives me a whole 24 hours to figure it out. And I said, well, the Commerce Department does the census. And we spend $40 billion every 10 years doing the census. And that means we hire 625,000 people. And they go and they rent cars and gas and you pay them food. And you know what they do? They go to every household in America and count the people. What department do we already have that already employs 625,000 people? It's got cars, already has gas, goes to every household. Can you imagine saying to your postman, can you count the people in the house? What day could he do the census? Monday? Could he double check it on Tuesday? How about Wednesday? He goes every day. So we can only save $40 billion or $4 billion a year, and we'll do a better job. And you know what else we can do with the post office? They can go to your house when you have a baby and give you the form for Social Security. and the 20,000 Social Security offices that we have, we just don't need them. We actually can do real customer service. Go right to your house. Someone died. Here's the forms. You can fill it out.
Nice.
I'll bring them to your house. Customer service. Why? Because we've got those people. Let's use the assets of the government to make us better and save us money. We can be smart, We're allowed.
Yeah. So there you have it. Kind of thinking out of the box kind of thing that CEOs demand of their people. Right?
Yeah. I love it.
If you don't mind, can I just mention something about Howard?
Sure.
So I grew up in a town about 40 minutes outside of the city, in Manhasset, financial town.
Great town.
Most of the guys that worked on Wall Street worked at Cantor Fitzgerald.
Oof.
And of course, I was quite friendly with many of them. And they all got killed at 9/11.
Right.
This guy, what this guy did, what this guy represents, one, wiped out his firm. He rebuilt it, but he took care of all those families who lost people at 9/11. He is an amazing man.
Yeah.
He does not get anywhere near the credit. I mean, I love what he's doing here with this administration, but I just wanted to interject with that because
I didn't know that story.
I have
That's
personal experience. I lost a lot of friends that work there too, and they all seem to work at Cantor Fitzgerald. And what he did for those families is nothing short of miraculous. The guy should be sainted, frankly, because it wasn't just helping 10 families. You're talking about hundreds, maybe thousands of families that he stopped his life and helped and rebuilt the firm. So, Howard, you're a good man. So sorry about that. Just wanted to interject.
No, that's
Howard.
all right.
No,
because
it's a good one.
that's his background, and that's part of why Donald Trump asked him to come and join the administration.
Yeah.
Because he's got that attitude of getting things done.
Yep.
So great to see. Speaking of Donald Trump, he of course was doing the press conference with the UK Prime Minister. How do you pronounce his name? Sturmer?
It was
Sturmer.
right on Sheshwell.
Prime Minister Sturmer. Sturmer.
Yes.
Oh, Sturmer.
So here he is talking about taking a question from one of the reporters inquiring about NATO and the Ukraine. Here's cut number 10. Here's Trump's answer on that. Check this out.
The Europeans want Ukraine to be part of NATO as part of this deal. Are you willing to budge on that at all, or is it a firm?
Well, I could be very nice and say, oh, well, we'll work to it. Look, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. That's what started this whole thing. Biden said that, and all of a sudden the gun started. That was one of the primary reasons this started. And this was long before President Putin. They never said it was an impossibility. So we can say, oh, gee, well, we'll try. But that's something that's just not going to happen. And then the other question I ask is about the land. Will you get your land back? Well, they've fought long and hard on the land, and you and I will be discussing that. And we're going to certainly try and get as much as we can back. But on the NATO, it's just not, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. So there he is talking about Ukraine's desire to join NATO. It's not going to happen no matter what. And here he is accepting an invitation to the UK. Believe it or not, this is, I guess, a first ever. Cut number 9. Check this out.
Very importantly, I was just notified by letter from King Charles that he's extended through the Prime Minister a historic second state visit to the United Kingdom. And that's a great honor because it's never happened before. One person has never been extended that honor, and I really do call it an honor, but it's not for me, it's for our country. It's respect for our country. So I just want to thank you, and I want to thank King Charles. Thank you very much, and we accept. I don't know if the media is going to follow us. I have a feeling they might. Okay? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
There you have it. Yeah. Historic second state visit by President Donald Trump to the UK.
It makes you proud, doesn't it?
All right, live from Studio 6B, 13 past the hour. We'll do some sports with Slick, some more news with Vinnie Mac, all coming up right after this.
All right, Big D, super chat in the YouTube. Ron Klein gave us $19.99.
Thank you, Ron.
Ron Klein. I like what Dog said. You know, there was the G-Dog before, gave us the $49.99 chat. Damon is the leader of the zoo animals, and Slick is the zookeeper. Come on, doggy.
I like that. I opened this zoo 10 years ago now.
That's it.
Right. 10 years, huh? It's hard to believe. 10 years. Wow, it's gone faster.
I still have some of our first shows, Vin.
Oh, don't let those go, man. I'd love to see some of them again. You know? Just you and I, the ones that just, yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Literally like the first shows.
Wow. That's amazing. We should run like, a retrospective one time to go back because.
Should do a marathon on like New Year's Day.
Yeah. On a holiday, do a marathon.
On Big D's YouTube channel, do a marathon of them.
That's a great idea.
Back then, my office is where Damon is sitting right now.
Yeah. That's right.
Studio was a lot smaller then.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's over our heads. No, I'm kidding. We got to get in the door now, Frank. Come on.
Oh, man. Greta Garbo. Do you remember Greta Garbo? She was watching. A couple of people were watching the show back then. Gerald Hawkins.
Gerald Wynn Hawkins.
Yeah, and a couple others. They're still watching the show today, but they were like some of the originals.
There is a Garbo in the chat that watches. I wonder if that's the same person.
Yeah, Greta. Greta's out there, man. I hear from Greta every once in a while. Messages. We message back and forth. Share our thoughts on the show. I ask her, to check on my outfits, what we wear here. She's very good with that.
You got one read here, Damon.
Just one?
And we have a guest at 9:30.
Yeah.
Who's the guest?
Oh.
Dr. Victory.
Alrighty then.
That's 2 guests tonight.
I know.
I liked the guy.
So you got to give up your seat for this one.
PG.
All right. I'll be in the bathroom. Blowing my socks.
Shh. Don't talk like that.
Chilly.
It's not cold out.
It's a family show, would
It's a
you?
little chilly.
It's a family show.
It's like 50 degrees today. What are you talking about?
It's a little chilly. It started to rain. That wet,
It's going to be warm at my undisclosed location.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Well, if you've seen the news from economists, they're forecasting a depression. I said depression, not a recession. A depression by the year 2030. We're in the perfect storm as Social Security and Medicare hit a breaking point with the largest generation hitting retirement. A smaller workforce means a smaller tax base. Pair that with a growing national debt and rising cost of living, and you've got yourself a recipe for a disaster or at least a huge problem. So what are you going to do now to protect your family for the future? Well, as I've been telling you, gold is a safe haven in hard economic times, and Birch Gold makes it easy to diversify a portion of your savings into physical gold. Birch Gold will help you transition an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and it won't cost you one single penny out of pocket to do it. Protect your future today with gold. Text America to the number 989898. Get your free information kit on gold and get a copy of The Ultimate Guide to Gold in the Trump Era with a foreword written by Donald Trump Jr. There's no obligation, only information. Birch Gold has earned the trust of countless Americans looking to safeguard their savings. You can count on them too. Text America to the number 989898 and do it today. All right, 18 past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Thursday night. Slick's going to do some sports. It's brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Slickster, what's going on?
All right, Big D, I want to get to this video we have here. Mayweather praises Trump, best president we ever had. Dylan Gwynn at Breitbart. Boxing legend Floyd Mayweather visited Fox Business on Wednesday. He lavished praise on President Trump, calling him the greatest president we ever had. Appearing on Making Money with Charles Payne, the founder and head of the Money Team, that's the TMT, the fighter who ended his career with an undefeated 50-0 record, told viewers why he believes Trump is undefeated when ranked among other U.S. presidents. Roll that cut, Aaron. Cut 6.
In America, we're never happy. At least I'm happy, but we're never happy. When we had We had Trump before. We didn't appreciate him, but I think Trump is a great president. He's the best president in my eyes. He's the best president we ever had. Great businessman, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, and the way the Days cabinet thing, you probably went around here. It was really phenomenal. To the point you talked about, putting together a great team.
Yes,
put together a fantastic cabinet.
Trump has done an amazing job, and a lot of people around America are upset. But no matter who goes in the White House, we're always upset.
Right.
And I think Trump is the man for the job. He's the best president in my eyes.
Floyd Mayweather, one of the greatest to do it. Money Mayweather also knows a thing or two about being a great businessman. The former fighter and promoter has a reported net worth of $1.2 billion and has recently put together a bid to purchase a 10% minority ownership share in the New York Giants, valued at $700 million. So not bad. They come up with $70 million to be a 10% owner. Maybe they could suit him up and get him on the field a little bit there. We'll see what they do with that first pick. But yeah, Mayweather, actually a kid that used to work for me in the pharmacy years ago, went to work in Vegas, and he ran into him at a convenience store, and he was just picking up a couple of items. Mayweather comes over to him, peels off about $400,000 or $500,000 and goes, "Here, this is for you. Everybody's got to eat, man." He knew him from the hotel. How cool is that? Just a generous guy, great businessman. 50-0. I would like to see him fight some of the greater fighters a little before his generation. There was a couple of middleweight guys I would like to see, and some lightweight guys, light welterweights. But you got to say he's done a great job. He's done an even better job out of the ring, because we know the story of boxers. How many of these guys, right? They have these great careers and they end up penniless. Look at Evander Holyfield, right? A big mansion in Atlanta, all kinds of money. They have to go and do like what Tyson did, get on a crazy pay-per-view and fight one of these crazy fights here. And so it's good to see a guy like that keeping his wits and his money. And by the way, he kept his record intact too at 50-0. So pretty cool stuff. And that's a wrap in sports.
He's a great business guy too. He's invested in a lot of
$1.2 billion.
deals.
He did it right.
Yeah.
1.2 bill seems a little light for Money May. Is that what the number is?
That's $1 billion. 1.2 billion.
That seems a little light.
Come on.
For Floyd.
I think that's good money.
I didn't say I don't think he's not worrying about where his next meal's coming from, Slick. I get it.
He had a couple of $100 million fights, but that's you'd have to have. We would have to have 12 of them to have 1.2 billion. I mean, so I didn't have 12 of those kind of fights. He might have had, I don't know, maybe 5 fights like that where he made with Pacquiao, maybe 5 or 6, fights like that.
All right,
I would think.
All right, 21 past the hour. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Vinnie Mac is here as well. He's got some news. Before I get to that, though, you mentioned this before, Vinny, and we didn't get really into it, but I want to get into this because, again, another example of maybe not the new and current FBI, but does the FBI do anything other than suppress information would be the question. Headline in the New York Post today, would-be Trump assassin Thomas Crooks may have had an accomplice, data shows, as investigators say the FBI suppressing info. It's been almost 9 months since a seemingly mild-mannered 20-year-old attempted to assassinate then-Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump at a rally in Butler, and we still have no good reason why. Sources told the Post the FBI has obfuscated efforts to solve the mystery of why Thomas Matthew Crooks, who left no manifesto, did what he did. It's left law enforcement, as well as Crooks' former friends, classmates, and teachers, frustrated. Those who may know Crooks' parents, Matthew and Mary, have refused all interviews and remain in their small 3-bedroom home, sealed off from the world like hermits. Neighbors say they only leave the house at 3 a.m. to buy groceries. By the way, why do we know nothing about the guy in Butler? Elon Musk said the other day. He yelled out to an audience at the Conservative Political Action Conference last week before warning that FBI Director Kash Patel is going to get to the bottom of it. Veteran private investigator from Erie, Pennsylvania, who was hired shortly after the fateful July 13th event at Butler, was hired to look into Crooks, by a private client. He told the Post he believes a criminal network was operating with him at the time of the assassination attempt, is still in existence, and still wants to kill President Trump. Doug Hackman, whose team of 6 other investigators have been working the case for months and have interviewed more than 100 people, said they also conducted extensive geofencing analysis of cell phones and tablets not belonging to Crooks that were found with him at his home, at the rifle range where he took target practice, at the rally, and at Bethel Park High School where he graduated in 2022. We don't think he acted alone. Hackman told the Post. This took a lot of coordination. In my view, Crooks was handled by more than one individual, and he was used for this assassination attempt. And I wouldn't preclude the possibility that there were people at the rally itself helping him. Hackman said one of the electronic devices geolocated with Crooks at several different places at the time of the shooting is still pinging today at Bethel Park High School. Crooks perched on a rooftop. We know what happened there. Fired 8 shots. The autopsy reports indicate Crooks was pronounced dead at 6:25. Gunshot wound to the head by a counter sniper. Hackman said he was personally escorted to the Butler County line and told to leave twice during the course of his team's investigation. The people who did so were either federal agents or some type of private security. And this goes on then to talk about the FBI. I don't need to go through the whole thing. It's probably better if you read it. It's on our socials now. But the hell's going on here?
There's no excuse for this. There's no excuse for this.
And Representative Clay Higgins is still investigating this, as he has been for months.
I know Trump had asked for all this information, but there's 2 things here. One, there's no excuse for this. And 2, it's only because this kid was a bad shot. I mean, the chances of Trump surviving were so small because this was not a hard shot that we had a miracle that happened in Butler, and we don't have any information as to why this happened or who's involved. By the way, if it was just this kid, okay, put it to bed. Tell us that. Investigate it. Tell us this is kid. But there's some smoke here.
26 past the hour. Live from Studio 6B. More news, sports, all coming up on a Thursday night. And, of course, you in the chat, social media. We're back right after this.
What a day, huh? Every day feels like it's an action-packed news day. I mean, this president is remarkable. You know, you go from the gold card to the post office, which, by the way, is a brilliant idea. It's some of the best real estate in the country. Post offices. They're in the heart of every town.
I know.
Yeah.
I love this idea. You know what? I don't think I shouldn't say too much about postal workers. You know, they got to work in a lot of different kind of weather and all, but I feel they could be better utilized just with what I do, because my wife ships merchandise every day and I see how they are. And, you know, it just feels like there's a lot of opportunity there. Having them hand deliver, my mother could have utilized somebody like that after my dad passed. A Social Security form, you know, a death certification form. I know the funeral homes do that for you too. But, you know, sometimes things fall through. You know, it's just, to me, I think that's a nice touch. Birth certificate's a real nice touch. That's actually the nicest thing you could get from somebody knocking on your door, right? I mean, why not? Put them to work.
And it's a field force.
You know, yeah.
I mean, they're in the field. Yep. In one of the projects I have in Africa, we are taking all the post offices across the continent and turning them into like e-learning, e-health, all these services they don't have. They're converting them because they don't use them as much. Right. Here we have all these post offices, all this real estate. There's so much to do. So Howard's on to something.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, they mail it in. You know, they have a lot of time off. They don't work. You know, I mean, listen, a lot of postal carriers do work hard too.
Okay, put a stamp on that.
The weather is is an element, and it depends where you work too. If you're working in Manhattan delivering mail, that's work. So some of the rural areas probably a little bit nicer, but yeah, I know I love all postal carriers, I really do. But I think utilizing them a little bit more, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and it's a lot of value they can bring to the table.
No question.
Let's see what's happening here on social media. Our friends are talking about, hey, everybody's talking about Greta Garbo now that we mentioned Greta. Greta, you've got a little celebrity action going on here.
Somebody talking about Betty Davis.
Yeah. She's got Greta Garbo eyes. I don't know. There you go. That's my attempt.
Child of the King, Big D, big one. Super chat, 7576. Whoa, from downtown. Can you say deep state? Why do you think Trump has not left the USA since his inauguration? Hello, chatting boys. Child of the King, 76.
Child of the King, thank you. As
76.
always.
7576, excuse me. 7576. Pizza. Delgado, get some mozzarella sticks tomorrow night, too, will you?
Dave Peterson says, how do you do household counts on people who have a P.O. box? Well, you just don't do them. But you can do the rest of the country, you always have for the P.O. box people. But, if you have a P.O. box, you got to be one person.
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice, on a Thursday night. Glad you're in. Slick Rick is here. He's doing sports. Rick Delgado's doing the news. Vinnie Mac's doing the news. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. We'll get to some more news and sports before we wrap up the show. But please welcome back to the show right now the Chief of Disaster and Emergency Medicine over at the Wellness Company, Dr. Kelly Victory. Dr. Victory, welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks, as always, for having me.
It's always great to have you. Thanks for a few moments. Let me ask you about the let me start with the flu because, obviously we're in the seasonal flu. The time is, we've had a couple guys on the show. Kevin Downey Jr., who's not here tonight, he had it. He was out of commission for 2 weeks with this thing this year. I mean, really knocked him for a loop. I know others that's happened to. Cases are rising all over the country. What do you think is fueling this seemingly stronger flu that when you get it, boy, it's been really bad. Worse than people who I know who have had coronavirus. Way worse.
Well, to be clear, influenza is both seasonal and cyclic, meaning we normally do see an uptick around this time of year, the colder months when people are indoors, have less exposure to natural sunlight, they're in closer quarters. So it's seasonal. On top of that, it's cyclic. We do have years that are worse than others in relatively recent history, 1957, 1968, 2003, 2009, 2017. There are bad years, and we have sometimes as many as 50,000 associated deaths from influenza. All of that said, I think the reasons for this year may be multifaceted. You have to remember that people's immune system took a pretty significant hit during the COVID pandemic as a result of the misguided mitigation schemes, things like locking people indoors, limiting their exposure to sunlight. People got far less exercise than they would have routinely gotten. People were under overwhelming stress. They were eating, takeout and nutrition was down. Then you add on top of that the fact that about 80% of all Americans took at least one of the mRNA genetic therapies for COVID, and we know that those injections suppressed people's immune response. We have study after study proving it. So I think that there's a multifaceted explanation for why we're seeing a particularly vigorous outbreak of influenza. That said, we have not had a tremendous number of deaths associated. There are simple, easy things that people can do to decrease their risk of getting it. Everything from using simple nasal sprays and oral rinses. And then obviously we have many medications that are very safe and simple to treat influenza should you get it. I am not a proponent personally of the influenza vaccines. I've never taken one in my life. In a good year, it might be as much as 50% effective. Many years, it's well less than 20% effective, and it does not come without some significant risks. So I am personally not a proponent of influenza vaccines, although I know that many of the elderly in particular are recommended to take them.
Yeah, I was just going to say, but the medical establishment continues to push them, right? Even though they're seemingly, on any given year, really not very effective, and seemingly this year, really not effective.
Yeah, we've gone down this really unadvisable rabbit hole where people all of a sudden believe that you can vaccinate your way to good health. We simply don't need a new vaccine for every virus that is out there. We would do far better, from my perspective, paying attention to being good stewards of our overall health and wellness, getting back to the basics that will make sure that your immune system is capable of functioning and fighting off viruses and bacteria when they come along. Things like regular exercise, adequate sleep, good nutrition, stress mitigation, the sorts of things that our parents and grandparents did before it was, here's a new vaccine for every new pathogen that comes along.
Yeah. Speaking of vaccines, let's stay on that topic. RFK obviously now in. I feel like if it was solely up to him, the first thing he would do is pull the COVID mRNA vaccine off the market. I don't know where the president is. I feel like the president is slowly coming along to this idea. Where do you think he is? And obviously, I'm assuming you agree with RFK that should be pulled from the market. What do you think about that?
I 100% agree with that, and there are tens of thousands of scientists and physicians who would support that. The data are irrefutable. The mRNA shots for COVID not only didn't prevent COVID, but they've done untold harm. They didn't prevent people from contracting COVID. They didn't prevent the transmission of COVID. And in fact, we have many studies now that prove that the more highly vaccinated you are for COVID, the more likely you are to actually contract the virus. In other words, it's negative efficacy. The numbers of harms, including, unfortunately, deaths, have mounted. We're continuing to see issues, cardiac issues, autoimmune issues, neurologic issues related to these shots. I think they are long past when they should have been fully pulled from the market. I do know that Robert Kennedy Jr. Would like to see that happen ultimately. He's taking a measured approach and getting the input from lots and lots of experts, and hopefully that will happen ultimately.
Finally, is there anything the public needs to know about the bird flu and about agriculture when it comes to the bird flu? I saw that Joel Salatin, one of the nation's leading freedom-fighting agriculture experts, said we don't need another vaccine for bird flu and chickens with natural immunity he's talking about. Is there anything the public, what do they need to know about this?
Well, I've been saying for months that bird flu, specifically H5N1, poses, it does not pose an appreciable threat to the average American. It really has only affected people in direct contact with sick birds or sick cows. And those people who have contracted it have had extraordinarily mild symptoms. If there's anything people need to know, however, it's that we right here in the United States, ill-advisedly, there are laboratories that have been doing gain-of-function research on this virus, specifically the USDA lab in Athens, Georgia, and multiple scientific labs, including the University of Wisconsin. And their specific goal in this gain-of-function research is to try to make bird flu more transmissible human to human. Now, why in the world someone would do that is beyond me, unless it's because of this obsession that they have with creating and launching a new vaccine. We've got to stop this gain-of-function research. Currently, there is no risk to the average American who isn't in contact with these infected animals because human-to-human transmission has been zero. But if if one of these lab-modified versions of the virus gets out, then all bets are off.
Yeah, here we go again. Dr. Victor, always great to have you on the show. Of course, you can go to twc.health/voice, twc.health/voice, promo code VOICE. If you want to look at their gold standard kits for whether it's a trip to the beach or trip to overseas, or if you're looking just to proactively fight against the flu, that's what I do with an ivermectin a week. Dr. Victory, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, 38 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Again, you can go to twc.health/voice for the wellness company and check out their prescription kits for whatever you need. So 38 past the hour. Let's do some more news. Rick Delgado's got it. What's going on, Delgado?
All right. Well, bouncing off of what you guys were just talking about there with Dr. Victory, we're all going to be winners with Megyn Kelly, except that she's now claiming that she is also been affected by the COVID vaccine, which left her with an autoimmune condition. according to her. Kelly, 54, said she was left with an autoimmune condition after receiving the 2-shot regimen of the Pfizer vaccine and then the follow-up booster back in 2021 of as the Omicron variant arrived in New York City. According to her, she said this on her podcast, "I wish I hadn't done it, but I did," clarifying that doctors were unable to determine exactly what she was suffering from, but they told her it could well have been caused by the vaccine. I asked my rheumatologist if it could be linked to the Pfizer vaccine and booster, and she said, yes, and you're not the only patient I have who has this sequence of events going on. Kelly was speaking with Dr. Azim Malhotra, a British COVID vaccine expert, actually skeptic, who is friends with the Department of Health and Human Services vax critic Robert F. Kennedy, and advised President Trump on disease mitigation. So, you talk about this this COVID vaccine and the ramifications of taking it. It spans just about everybody. Like she said, anybody who's taken it seems to have some type of problems attached to it.
Long COVID, the immune issue that she mentioned is a real thing. I mean, our immune systems took a real whack with the vaccine as much as anything, the virus aside.
Yeah. Speaking of Pfizer, fury erupts as Trump's drug chief quits to join Pfizer for a mega salary. A move that is planned, a move that is slammed as a conflict of interest. Pfizer announced this week that Dr. Patricia Cavazzoni, former director of the FDA's Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, will join the company as its chief medical officer. The exact salary is unknown, but the suggestion of the position pays up to about $500,000 a year with bonuses, before bonuses, and more than $400,000 per year than the president, of course.
Good work.
The move comes amid criticism with newly elected health chief Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who accused the FDA of being too beholden to the industry. And here's another example of it. Health experts told Daily Mail, Dr. Cavazzoni's new post proves RFK Jr.'s point about the revolving door between the health agencies and Big Pharma. She held her position with the FDA from 2020 until last month, resigning just before President Trump returned to office and the nomination of RFK Jr. as the Department of Health and Human Services secretary. So there you have it. But
she
here's
got a
another
boost
note.
in salary.
Yeah, here's another note. Before she came to work for the government during the Biden administration, she worked for Pfizer. So there's that revolving door. She went from Pfizer to the government, now back to Pfizer.
That is the game. That's how they all become millionaires. Even Calzone over there, that actually pulled it off. Very impressive.
Yeah, exactly. One last thing here. A bit of bad news. Well, good news and bad news for Fox News Gutfeld host Kat Tim.
Oh, I heard this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hours before giving birth, she was diagnosed with breast cancer.
That's terrible.
Luckily, she's been diagnosed with stage 0 breast cancer.
Yeah, thank God.
But she's still been advised by doctors to get a double mastectomy as soon as possible. She told her followers on X not to worry because, according to her doctor, it is stage 0, which means that the cancer almost certainly has not spread. The National Breast Cancer Foundation stated on its website people with stage 0 have a high survival rate, claiming that the 5-year relative survival rate is approximately 99%. Still, it was not a chill day, she wrote. At least not for me. Then she made some jokes about the situation and, tried to keep a positive face, especially since she's giving birth.
She's young, too.
Yeah, very young, and very funny.
I like her.
She's the type you have to... I equate her to a Colin Quinn. You know Colin Quinn?
Sure.
Yep.
At first, I didn't get Colin Quinn. For a long time, I didn't understand Colin Quinn's comedy.
And Carrot Top. But
It took a while. Once I got to understand Colin Quinn's comedy, then it clicked. Same with Kat Timpf. You watch her enough, and then you start to see, I see what she's doing.
Very dry.
Yeah, she's very dry,
Yeah.
very funny, very quick on the wit. So all the best to her. And what?
No, nothing. What do you mean, what?
What?
I'm listening to what you're saying.
This is all resonating with us.
You've gotten to the point where you're like, oh, I got it with her. I see it.
No, I understand it, yeah.
Okay.
It took me a while, because when I first came across her, I'm like, what makes her, why are people laughing? I'm not getting it.
I'm still at that stage.
Okay.
With you.
Stage 1.
But God bless her. I hope she gets well.
That's good.
Yes. Papa Nolan was in the YouTube chat. Big deal a little while ago.
Come on.
Yeah, Papa Nolan. The Papa Nolan. Yes, indeed. Yeah, he said, "Boy, oh boy, this Epstein cover-up of the cover-up is pretty effing frustrating."
Oh, that's why he jumped in. He's just itching to get to a microphone.
Oh yeah, Papa's in there. Yep. Papa from the trunk.
Live from the trunk.
He popped the trunk.
Yeah, why don't you let him in the building? And
Chris Allen says, "I don't get Cat Tim because I have no sense of humor." Okay.
He should hang out with you.
Oh man, you're getting it tonight, man.
Every night.
Tonight. Yeah. Well.
Uh-oh.
No, Kat Timpf is hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. She is funny.
She is funny. It's like Colin Quinn. I used to watch Colin Quinn on SNL. I didn't get it.
It took me a while to get him too. By the way.
Once I started, I had the advantage of getting to know him and seeing him deliver.
Name dropper.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything.
No.
And then all of a sudden I started to get it. I'm like, oh shit, this guy is freaking hilarious.
It's good. Heather Locklear. What did I mention her name? Heather? No, I don't know Heather.
Who's it? Yeah.
Name dropper.
Colin Quinn was a bit of acquired. So was Larry David. I mean, the first season or two of Curb, I was like, I didn't get it. I love the guy now.
Right, yeah.
Robin Williams actually was, believe it or not, an acquired taste for me. I didn't really like him in the beginning. I
Who's
didn't like
that?
the whole Robin Williams. Who was
Really?
Yeah. I didn't really care for his early stuff.
The Mork or the hyper stuff, whatever.
Yeah, that I just didn't really resonate with me. But then as time went on, I loved the guy. He was fantastic.
Guy's a genius. And probably
same with Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald at first.
Oh yeah, right. Dry
because he was so dry. You're like, does this guy even want to be here?
Right.
And then you're like, oh, I get it.
Norm is just the thing with Norm that was so great when you hear comedians talk about Norm is he was funny to them because he was all that.
That's when you know you.
Yeah, right. They loved Norm. They worshipped Norm. He was just a god to them.
Nobody was better than Rodney, though. I tell you,
right.
I loved him. He was my favorite.
The best Norm thing is the head of the network, NBC, tells him when doing Weekend Update, don't do any more OJ jokes. He's a good friend of mine. Don't do any more. He goes, no problem. The next day, it was all OJ jokes.
Well, it's like telling Delgado, no more, no more Pink Pony Club. Sure enough, there's the Pink Pony Club.
Oh man,
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
To the hour live from Studio 6B on a Thursday night. Thanks for asking about my back, a lot of you. Back feels. What's so funny?
Nobody asked about your back.
Well, no, a lot of people have asked.
Wait a second.
Nobody asked.
A lot of people.
You're a misogynist.
Well, no, I know you three nerds didn't because you don't care.
Thank you for commenting on my new glasses.
You want me in much pain as possible, but at least a few people in the audience don't want me dead. They want to know how my back is.
I didn't say you would want to be dead.
Well,
I'm just telling them that it feels better. Not 100%, by the way.
Okay.
But he's out of sciatica.
Almost 3 weeks out, but certainly better. Racing Banshee. See, I asked about Damon's back. Another person, Allison, I asked about Damon's back. See?
Now they're all coming out of the wood.
Ann Miller, glad your back is better. Thank you very much. This is why I love the chat.
Yeah, they got your back.
Even
they sure do.
Even those who want to know if I'm the front or the back on the two-man pony thing.
No, you're the pony.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
All right, 12 minutes to the hour. Vinnie Mac's here. Vinnie Mac, what else is on your mind?
Oh, boy. I got one major thing on my mind that I feel is the impetus of the overall success of the Trump administration. This is the one thing that has to happen for Trump to be successful, because we have seen all of these rogue judges pop up. Like Damon has mentioned this many times on the show. How does one judge have all this power to stop stuff? Finally, the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Roberts, stepped in and he paused this money that Trump was holding back. And the Supreme Court has to take an active role now, not a small role. We have seen this happen. The first Trump administration, They just got these rogue judges to do dumb stuff that really weren't legal. They had to wait months, and they got them overturned, and they got to go appeal it. And the same thing's happening right now, except there's too much at stake right now. The Supreme Court must step up and be very aggressive here and almost lead an effort to marginalize these rogue, George Soros-funded left-wing progressive judges that will simply rule just on their own partisanship. We've seen it over and over and over. Once in a while, an actual honest judge who's left-leaning sneaks through. We saw that with one of the rulings, right? I forgot the woman's name, but you mentioned it. She was a Jan 6 judge. She ruled in his favor because it made no sense.
Tanya Chutkin.
Tanya. So I guess my feeling overall is that the Supreme Court does not exert its power and really get involved in these things. We're going to have real issues. And it's not just this administration. The same thing's going to happen to other administrations. Like, you can't have one judge block these things. So the Supreme Court's got to figure this out. I don't think it's Congress's duty. I don't think it's anyone else's. This is the Supreme Court.
Well, you saw a little bit of that last night. Late last night, Chief Justice Roberts.
Yep. He stepped up.
Yeah, put out this: upon consideration of the application of counsel for the applicants, it is ordered that the February 25th, 2025 orders of the United States District Court for the District of Columbia are hereby stayed pending further order of the undersigned or of the court. It is further ordered that any response to the application be filed on or about Friday, February 28th. And as our friend of the show, Josh Hammer says, Chief Justice Roberts to lower court judicial insurrection, FAFO.
That's right. This is what has to happen. He needs to do more of it. So that's been on my mind for a while, and I'm wondering through the first month, where's the Supreme Court? Like, we're trying to save billions of dollars. They're trying to do a lot of stuff. Where are they? They can't be stopped. But, hey, kudos to him. And then the other thing that caught my eye, which is just sort of a stupid little funny thing, is this Jake Tapper story. Jake is now coming out with a book letting us all know that Joe Biden was unqualified and not, able to conduct business in the White House.
I retweeted it as he put it out, and I said, what chapter do you talk about yourself as the cover-up?
It is a level of hypocrisy that I don't think it's embarrassingly hypocritical for Jake Tapper to come out with this. He fought with Lara Trump, fought with her about Joe Biden's competency on air many times. She challenged it. Now he's coming out with a book. Trump gets in a couple of months, he's got a book coming out. It's just insane. This is why nobody trusts the media. They've lost their audience. People get fired at MSNBC. What's their rebuttal? Racism. This is all they got. They got nothing. They have no ratings. People aren't watching. They're not believing them. And then Jake Tapper comes out with this nonsensical thing. So it's just the irony of everything is quite remarkable. You couldn't make this up. If we were writing a script about a network you would say this is based on a true story, you'd be like, there's no way. It's not like that. It can't be that bad. It is. Yeah, so that's all I got.
All right, very good, Vinnie Mac. Delgado, I guess let's end the show where we began it. Tom began it, but when we first got to you and on Epstein, and I don't know, I don't even follow this person, but Anthony Cabasa on Twitter says, here's a scoop. In talking with folks that attended the White House and sources at the White House, it appears today's Epstein files debacle is all the doing of a rogue AG Pam Bondi who did not coordinate the release with the White House or members of Congress. It was her idea alone to print the Epstein binders and hand them out to influencers who had been invited to the White House on a completely separate event with the White House press secretary. This is confirmed by people who received the binder in a complete surprise, quote unquote, to them by AG Pam Bondi. The White House, members of Congress, and even the DOJ and FBI had not been advised by AG Bondi about her plan to print old Epstein files in an attempt to pass them off as new information, print the binders, and send them influencers, journalists, all out in front of the press. Additionally, I'm told AG Bondi deliberately republished old Epstein files with President Trump's name on them. For what reason, no one is sure. White House has been doing damage control on behalf of AG Bondi since. This was at 9:05 p.m. He put this out. I'm going to subscribe to him and follow because I don't even follow him.
Wow.
And that's on my timeline. So what do you think of that?
I don't know. But this from...
It seems almost impossible to think that could be the way this went down.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm shocked to hear.
Hey, I have an idea.
I don't know.
She's way too qualified to do something like that. I'd be very surprised.
I just don't know. Anyhow, this from John Solomon's Just the News. This came out tonight, Thursday night. Kash Patel promises to uncover any hidden Epstein documents in a new pledge. The statement comes after Attorney General Pam Bondi gave Patel an ultimatum. Blah, blah, blah. He said Thursday night he's going to uncover all these hidden documents related to the late financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The statement comes after the Bondi ultimatum. The FBI is entering a new era, he said, one that will be defined by integrity, accountability, and unwavering pursuit of justice. If there are gaps, we will find them. If there are records hidden, we will uncover them. He continued, we will bring everything we find to the DOJ to be fully assessed and transparently disseminated to the American people as it should be. The oath we take to the Constitution under my leadership that I promise will be upheld without compromise. And again, there's a Friday morning 8 a.m. Deadline to turn over all the documents to Pam Bondi coming from the Bureau by tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. on the dot.
The new AG went on Jesse Kelly last night. We played the clip on the air here, did a media tour about this, and we're now to believe that no one else knew about it?
Yeah, I don't believe that. Especially because she did say in that clip, a lot of it's going to be some of the old stuff. You might see some new things in there, but most of it is stuff that's already been out. She did say that on that clip.
Her email to Kash Patel does say it all. You know, hey, go get this stuff. Yeah. I didn't know it existed.
Luke Radowski, why did she orchestrate this whole PR blunder when she knew she had nothing?
Yep.
All right, 24 hours from now, we'll see where we are. 8 p.m. tomorrow night, but for now,
8 a.m.
Well, I know that, but we'll see what we have by 8 p.m. when we come on. As always, we salute our military, active and active, police, firefighters, first responders, EMTs, everybody on the front lines protecting us. Thanks, everybody on the show. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Fran. Most of all, thank you, live from Studio 6B audience. We'll see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. right here, live from Studio 6B.